Hello and welcome to Thursday Zoom. I have a coding class planned today. It may be a little bit different because I guess you guys couldn't make it today, which is understandable. I wanted to talk a little bit about your workbook assignment that is going to be, let's see, it's going to be Monday the 27th. You guys are going to be doing theory number 1 through 33, which is your multiple choice basically, and practical, which is your coding, and it's number 34 through 58. That's quite a bit. And so what I wanted to do in today's class is I wanted to go through the a portion of your practical with you on your workbook, and we're just going to talk about it and map it out together. And of course, I'm going to give you the answers, but I would like for you to use this as an opportunity to listen to the video, get into your CPT, get into your workbook, and figure out why certain things are mapped the way they are. And, for example, 3 injections of an allergen with the provision of the extract, things like that. So what is that? Is that testing? Hi, Melinda, I was just getting started. Sorry, I'm turning off my phone, guys. Sorry about that. But I just want to map these, some of these coding scenarios out with you so that you will be able to do them with no problem, and you'll be able to think outside of the box as far as key terms. So let me share my screen. All right, so the first one that we're going to go through is practical number 34. 3 injections of allergen with the provision of the extract and professional services. So when I look at this, the first thing that I want to do is I want to go to injections. That is not going to get us anywhere because I've already tried. I did some of these earlier just to kind of give an idea of what we could look for. So I want to kind of talk about it. So if we're doing 3 injections of an allergen, which is allergies, so what we're going to be looking for in the index of our CPT is actually allergen immunotherapy. So how would you have gotten that? Well, you could have looked under allergen, and they have allergy tests. It's on page 1032 of your index, but they have like allergen immunotherapy, then there's allergy services procedures, and then allergy tests. So we're going to line up the word allergen. So we're going to go with allergen immunotherapy. And again, that's found on page 1032. So what's the next place we need to go? When we start reading on page 1032 and we see allergen, let's look at our scenario. 3 injections of allergen with provision of the extract and professional services. So we need to look for, I think, extract. And injections. So I don't see that. Okay, allergenic extracts. There we go. And then what does it say? Injections and provisions. And so the first line says injections, and then we have injection and provision. And it gives us code range 95120 through 95134. I'm going to grab a spare sheet of paper because you guys know I can't remember the numbers. I have to write them down. So let's see. 95120 through 95134. So we're going to start at 95120. So let's look in our tabular at 95120 to start with. Okay, so 95120 says professional services for allergen immunotherapy in the office or institution of the prescribing physician or other qualified healthcare professional, including provision of allergenic extract single injection. So it cannot be 95120 because this is a single injection. So let's look down to 95125. It says 2 or more injections. So I'm thinking that it is 95125. Melinda, have you gotten an opportunity to look at that one?
Not yet.
Not yet? Okay, look on page 792.
792. Okay.
So we started out with 95120, and that says all of our busy work. But that is only a single injection, 20. Then when we look at 25, it's 2 or more injections. So thumbs up or thumbs down on 25? Thumbs up. So the answer is 95125. Now, I want to point out again that it didn't say exactly what our scenario said in the index. And that's why I want to talk about these, because remember, it's not going to always say exactly what we need. We're going to have to do some thinking outside the box. So the key word that we needed to look for here is allergen. Even though I wanted to go to injections, it did not get me where I needed to go. So I had to choose another word, which was allergen. Okay, so let's go to number 35. It says 2 Photopatch tests. All right, so do you know what a Photopatch is? No, a lot of people don't. So, you know, when you go to the allergy doctor, they put this patch thing on you and they poke you with different kind of allergens. That is a Photopatch test. And it tells the doctor exactly what you're allergic to and what you're not allergic to, and then the severity of every allergy. So what we need to go to on this one is very similar to what we went to before. On page 1032 in our index, we're going to need to go to allergy test, because a Photopatch test is simply an allergy test. So once we go to allergy test on 1032, we're going to go to patch. Then once you get to patch, it says application tests. That is not what we want. And then it says Photopatch. 95052. 95052. All right, so I'm going to go back to my tabular and look for 95052. (95052) is found on page 792 in our tabular, and it says Photopatch test, and then it says specify the number of the tests. So it should be 95052 times what? How many do we have? 2. So it's going to be 95052 times 2. Now, I want to also point out again, just like I did on the previous ones, if we know what we're looking for example, we know what a Photopatch test is. It's an allergy test. It makes it easy for us to look up. So I want to encourage you guys, if you don't know what something means, please use the Google. Google is your friend. And I'm not going to lie, I double checked the meaning before I did this meeting or did this class, because I wanted to make sure that I knew what it was. I thought I did, and I was right, but I wanted to make sure. All right, so let's move to number 36, replacement of contact lenses. So again, I wanted to go to replacement, but we're not replacing a body, we're not replacing a knee, or we're not replacing an elbow, or we're not replacing a cornea, or we're actually replacing contact lenses. So our key term here is going to be contact lens. Again, I seem like I have it all together because I did this first. because I'm not going to lie, I went to replacement first because that is my automatic reaction, is to go to that. But when you don't get the right term first, try again. So I did not write down page numbers. That's okay. So contact. So contact lens services, 1071. Fittings and prescription, modification, prescription, and then it says replacement. So does that line up with what our scenario is? 1071 in the middle column, contact lens services replacement, 92326. All right, so now I'm going to go to the tabular and look under 92326. Okay, page 742, 92326 says replacement of contact lens. Spot on, right? I know some of these sound easy, but if you're just looking at them for the first time and you've not rolled through them, you're like, okay, what do I look for? What do I do? Now I feel like if we just kind of talk about them individually, you're going to remember, oh, I don't need to go to replacement. I need to do specific things. All right, so let's look at number 37. So it says patient is to be fitted for bifocal spectacles. So Melinda, do you want to give a guess at what you think we're going to look up?
But she's flying. No. What she's flying.
Spectacles.
Is it
Spectacles? Spectacles, yes. How many times, how long has it been since you heard glasses called spectacles?
We used to say specs in middle school.
Yeah. Well, we're going to be looking at spectacles. And it's found on page 1230 of the index. And what are we doing? We're doing a patient is fitted. So fitting. It's under spectacle services, then it says fitting, low vision aid, spectacle prosthesis, and then it just says spectacles, right? So it says 92340 through 92342. So let's go to our tabular and let's look at our terms or our codes to see which is right. Nine, 2, 3. Page 742. 92340 says fitting of spectacles except for aphakia monofocal. Then it says 92341 is bifocal. Okay, so we're looking for bifocal spectacles. So what do we think about 92341 on page 742? Do you like 92341? Yes. Okay. All right. So number 37 is 92341 because it's bifocal spectacles. Okay, so let's move to number 8, electrography with interpretation and report. All right, so this one is going to be what we think. This is not one of those off the wall ones where we're like, okay, are we going to look up report? No, we're actually looking up the electrooculography. So back to the index to electro. Going to start in the E's. We're always doing our alphabet, aren't we? A, B, C, D. I feel like I spend my life doing the alphabet too, guys. So electro. Okay, I found it on a page 1090. And there's only one code. So on page 1090, almost to the very end, it says electrooculography 92270. So let's write that down, 92270. All right, so now we're going to go to our tabular. Nine two two 770. On page 741, 92270 says electrooculography with interpretation and report. So again, it matches up perfect, which is great when that happens. It makes it easy, right? We're going to enjoy the easy ones. Okay, so let's move on to number 39. Optokinetic nystagmus test. It took me a minute. I had to sound that out. So 39. So what are we doing? What kind of a test? We're doing a nystagmus test. So we're going to start with nystagmus. Remember, optokinetic is like our adjective. It's describing what kind of nystagmus test. I can't say that 3 times fast. So let's go to our index and look under nystagmus test. All right, it's on page 1177. It's in the middle column. It says nystagmus test. Then it says optokinetic. So that's what we're looking for. Optokinetic. It says 92534 or 92544. So 92534 is found on page 744. And so code 92534 says optokinetic nystagmus test. So do we need to go any further, or does that line up perfectly? It lines up perfectly. So on page 744, CPT code 92534 is our answer. All right, let's move on to number 41. So number 41 says an esophagus acid reflux test with nasal catheter electrode placement for detection of gastroesophageal reflux. Now, does that sound scary when we first read it? Kind of does, right? It sounds like a lot. But when we start looking up for this, what are we actually looking for? We're looking at an acid reflux test, right? All those other words are big words and they're great, but actually, what are we doing? We're doing an acid reflux test. So let's think about it. Do we go to acid reflux test or do we go to the anatomic site? A lot of times with CPT, we have better luck sometimes with anatomic site. So what is our anatomic site here? It's esophagus, right? So let's start with esophagus in our index. All right, don't be mad at me, Melinda, but like I turned right to the page on accident. It's page 1095. And okay, so esophagus, and we're going to be doing an acid reflux test. Oh my goodness, it gives us 1, 2, 3, 4 codes to choose from. So let's write down those 4 codes. I'm going to have to put my light on here to be able to see that. So it says 91034, 91035, 91037, and 91038. So we know that it's going to be pretty close together. So let's see. So 91034 is on page 735. So 91034 says esophagus, gastroesophageal reflux test with nasal catheter, placement, recording, analysis, and interpretation. So do we need to go any further? Let's look at 35 just to be sure. Number 91035, it says with mucosal attached telemetry, placement, recording. That's not it. And then 90137 is an esophageal function test. So that's not it. So what do you think, Melinda? 91034? 91034 found on page 735. All right. Let's look at number 42. Peritoneal dialysis with 2 repeated physician evaluations. So what are we actually doing here? What is our procedure in 42? It's dialysis, right? So we're going to go to our index and we're going to look for dialysis. DIA. Dialysis is found on page 1081. Melinda, don't be mad. I did it again. I just turned over and there it was. Look, I don't ever get this lucky. Y'all know I'm looking for a needle in a haystack sometimes. So dialysis is found on 1081. And then what type? It's peritoneal, right? So we looked at peritoneal and it says catheter insertion, catheter removal, home infusion, plan of care documented. So I think we're going to need to look under just basic peritoneal. So dialysis peritoneal, and it gives us this 4055F codes. We're not going to use that. So we need to choose from 90945 or 90947. On page 733, so 90945 says dialysis procedure other than hemodialysis, peritoneal dialysis, hemofiltration, or other continuous renal replacement therapies with single evaluation by a physician or other qualified healthcare physician. Okay, so can you automatically tell why that's not the right answer? In our scenario, it says 2 repeated,
It
right?
says one. Yeah.
It says single in 45. So automatically we know that 90947 has to be the correct answer because it says dialysis procedure other than hemodialysis required repeated evaluations by a physician. So that has repeated in it. So our answer is going to be 90947. Okay, let's do number 43. And it's easy. It's hypnotherapy. So what are we going to look up? Hypnotherapy, right? There's nothing else to look up, right? Hypnotherapy is found on page 1134, and it gives us one code, 90880. 1134 in your index, 90880. So I'm just going to my tabular. $90880 in the tabular is found on page 731, and it just says one thing, hypnotherapy. So that is correct. All right, now I'm going to tell you, I'm going to stop at number 45 because there's something wrong with me and I can't stop with number 43. I have to stop with number 45. So let's go ahead and move on to number 44, which says Berenstein test for the esophagus. Okay, now if you're the mother of children, who doesn't know who the Berenstein bears are? And that's the first thing I thought about when I saw number 44. I know has nothing to do with coding, but I just thought that I would share that for you. So, so number 44 says Berenstein test for esophagus. All right, now you can't just look up Berenstein test. Let's do it anyway. Let's look under Berenstein test and see what it tells us. Just because I'm a glutton for punishment and everything has worked out so perfectly up until now. So, so BER. Okay, so Berenstein test is on page 1048. When you look under Berenstein test, it says C, acid perfusion study esophagus. So what we're actually going to need to look for is perfusion. So we need to look for perfusion. All right, perfusion is on page 1195. So perfusion, and then we're going to go to test. And then it says esophageal acid. 91030, page 1195 under perfusion test esophageal acid, 91030. So we'll go look at that in our tabular. Yeah, I just kind of flipped my cat off my back shoulder. Sorry. She jumped when I tried to touch her with one hand. So, okay, so 91030 is on page 735. It says esophagus, acid, perfusion. It says Berenstein test for esophagus. So 91030 is the right answer. Even though we had to take a little bit of a detour in our index, that was pretty easy. All right, so the last one that we're going to cover today is going to be number 45. Evaluation of auditory reevaluation. Let's try it again. Evaluation of auditory rehabilitation status 1 hour. So what did we do? We did an evaluation. So that's where we're going to start in our index, is evaluation. Okay, so evaluation is on page 1097, the first row, and we're going to go to auditory function, which makes sense because we're doing an auditory rehabilitation status. Okay, function of auditory implant. Let's see, evaluation of auditory rehabilitation status. So we're going to look under 92626 or 92627. 92626 or 92627. Y'all, I got a little dyslexic on my numbers there. So 92626. Okay, 92626 is found on page 748. 92626, evaluation of auditory function for surgically implanted devices or postoperative status of surgically implanted devices for the first hour. You know, that just leaves a lot to be desired. Nowhere does it say that we had implants, right? So I apologize for that one, but we did it together and it's not on the test, so you don't have to worry. So the answer is going to be 92626, even though they didn't give us a lot of information. So on page 748. And it's because it says the first hour. Now, I want you to take a look at CPT code 92627. Melinda, could we use 92627 by itself? No, because it's an add-on code, right? We would need to add it on to another code. All right, so I just want to show you guys why I chose to do this today. Now I'm stopping at 45, 46 and 47. And then you guys have this page. And 2 more problems. So we did half of your workbook that's due Monday together. I decided, since there was a lot of coding in that section, that it would just be helpful that we coded it together. And you already have the answers, right?